name's Jess, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the TBR book tag. I was tagged by Raine over at Brews Binds, so definitely go check her channel out. I will link it down below. So this tag is basically all about your TBR pile, and as a reader I definitely have one of those, so I figured why not do this tag. So the first question is, how do you keep track of your TBR pile? So basically I keep track of everything over on Goodreads. On my want to read shelf I keep everything that I am relatively interested in reading, and then I also have separate shelves for books that I own physically and books that I own on audio. I definitely like to keep all of those shelves as low as possible. I organize and call them very often so I don't have a lot of extra stuff, and yeah, that's basically it. On my shelves here physically I know what I have read and haven't read, so I don't really have a way of keeping track of it other than Goodreads. Next question is, your TBR mostly in print or mostly in ebook form? And personally I usually only read free ebooks or ebooks from Libby, my library app, so I don't count my ebook library as books being on my TBR, so I would say most of my TBR is in print, although I do have quite a few audiobooks. I don't have as many as I usually do right now because I've been pretty good about keeping that down. Short answer to this question is most of my TBR books are in print. Question number 3 is, how do you determine which book from your TBR to read next? So usually I make monthly TBRs with very specific criteria. Some of this criteria includes if there are any readathons I want to participate in, if there are any book clubs or buddy reads that I have, and then all the rest of the books are filled in with any videos that I want to do that month. I like to do themed reading vlogs. I usually have a couple of those going that I need to read books for, and all of these I smush into my monthly TBR, and I usually have a pretty strict reading schedule. Usually within the themed reading vlogs I can kind of pick and choose. I don't have to read them in a specific order, which kind of helps if I have any kind of tendency to feel like I want to mood read. I'm really not much of a mood reader anymore. I don't really have trouble following these monthly TBR that I set for myself, just because I really like making the videos that I make and want to get them out how I feel they should be. So basically whatever book I pick next is the next book on my TBR, the next book that I have to read for a video, etc. Question number 4 is, what book has been on your TBR for the longest? I don't think I currently have this book with me. I think it's at my apartment at school. I don't go to school anymore. What am I talking about? Whatever. Anyway, the book that I have owned physically for the longest is Rebel of the Sands by Alvin Hamilton. I believe this is also one of the very first books on my Goodreads TBR shelf too, so this answers this question in multiple ways. But basically this is a YA fantasy that has magic and gunslingers and romance, and it sounds really exciting. I don't know why it's taken me so long to get around to it. Honestly, I have it on audio as well, hoping that would help me read it, but I've tried the audio a couple times and I think it's like too much fantasy for me to listen to on audio. I kind of have trouble with fantasy audiobooks, so I definitely want to read it physically. I just need to get around to it, honestly. Question number 5 is, name a book you recently added to your TBR. For this one I'm going to go with Beach Read by Emily Henry. This I chose as my May Book of the Month pick. This is my first month ever doing Book of the Month. If you've never done Book of the Month before either, you can click the link down in my description down below to get your first book for $9.99, which is honestly a pretty good deal for this nice hardback. Beach Read follows these two writers who are both at a writing retreat at the beach, and they both have writer's block. He writes literary fiction and she writes romance novels, so in order to kind of get over this writer's block they decide they're gonna switch genres. He's gonna write romance and she's gonna write literary fiction, and they're gonna see if that helps them out, and I think they also fall in love, hopefully, because I think this is a romance book. This is also our June pick for the Page Turner Book Club, so if you are interested in reading this with us next month, the live show will be over on Mary Reed's channel, and I will leave her link in the description down below, and I will also leave the link to our book club Instagram in the description down below, so you can go check that out if you are interested in reading this along with us. Question number 6 is, name a book that's specifically on your TBR because of its beautiful cover. For this one I think I'm gonna have to go with As Many Nows as You Can Get by Shayna Youngdahl. I definitely was originally attracted to this book because of how beautiful the cover is. I definitely think I will like its contents as well, but it definitely caught my eye as a cover buy originally. This is an intense and impulsive summer romance between these two overachievers the summer before they go to college. I definitely have heard good things about this one, but I have also heard that it's not necessarily a romance. It definitely is more of an intense kind of hard-hitting contemporary story. I think there is some kind of romance, but it might happen after the romance. I don't really know what this involves, but I've heard it's a lot darker than people originally thought, so I'm kind of glad to know that, so I can go into it kind of prepared and not expecting like a lighthearted contemporary romance. But I am very excited to actually get around to this one, and I hope I will do so soon. Question Question number 7 is name a book on your TBR that you never plan on reading. I honestly don't have an answer for this question. There is not a single book on my Goodreads TBR or on my physical TBR that I don't plan on reading. I definitely went through a phase where I was very interested in minimalism, and I still am to some extent. I really believe in only owning things that you are genuinely interested in and genuinely love. So I definitely go through my books pretty often and cull anything that I either didn't like or that I no longer plan on reading. I currently don't own anything that I don't plan on reading, and also I go through my Goodreads shelf a lot and cull that down and get rid of things that I'm no longer interested in, etc. Just because I don't like seeing a huge number on my want to read list. I want it to feel obtainable and achievable because that's just how I operate basically. So honestly, I don't have an answer to this question. I can't think of anything that is on either my virtual or my physical TBR that I'm not interested in reading. Question number 8 is name an unpublished book on your TBR that you are very excited for. For this one, I'm going to go with Conventionally Yours by Annabeth Albert. This is a story about two enemies who are forced to go on a road trip together to a convention. I believe this is an enemies to lovers male-male romance. That sounds perfect to me, honestly. Couldn't think of anything better that I would rather read. A lot of people have been getting this in PR boxes, so I've seen it on Bookstagram a lot recently, and it's honestly just made me really excited for it. I'm really interested in it, and I cannot wait. I believe it comes out next month. Very excited. Question number 9 is name a book on your TBR that you feel everyone has read but you. For this question, I'm going to go with The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I feel like when this movie came out a couple years ago, everyone just devoured this book, and I feel like especially everybody who reads thrillers has definitely read this book. I definitely feel like I'm one of the few here on BookTube, and honestly in the world, in the general world, that has not read this book. So this is basically a psychological thriller following an unreliable narrator, and I think you gotta figure out if what she's seeing is real. I feel like she sees somebody get killed or something. You gotta figure out if she's telling the truth or if she's just kind of like crazy and unstable, you know? Honestly, when this video goes up, I might have read this by now. I'm not quite sure when this video is gonna go up, but I'm excited to see what I think about it. I feel like everybody has read it. I really liked Paula Hawkins' other book, Into the Water, so I have high hopes for this one, and I hope it's as good as everybody says, and I hope it lives up to the hype for me. Question number 10 is name a book on your TBR that everybody always recommends to you. For this one, I'm gonna go with a book that has recently been added to my TBR just because I have had so many recent recommendations about it, and that is The Selection series by Kiera Cass. This is another one that I feel like everybody has read but me, but it's also one that a lot of my friends here on BookTube have read and loved. Honestly, I love a good trashy quick YA read, so I would probably love it. I don't know why I never read it when I was younger, but I definitely am planning to read it soon now just because everybody seems to love it, and I want to be in on it, and I want to be in on the fan casting and all that fun stuff and like know what everybody's talking about, so I'm planning to read this very soon. Question number 11 is read a book on your TBR that you are dying to get to, and this for me definitely has to be Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in her newest series following the children of the characters in the Infernal Devices series, and it's set in Edwardian London. Honestly, I'm just trash for a good Shadowhunter book. I love them all. I just devour them. I feel like they're just getting better and better as she keeps writing them, except for the Infernal Devices. I really didn't like that series. I'm the only one that doesn't like it, and I really am just very excited to dive back into the Shadowhunter world. I can't wait to read this one. I'm definitely gonna read it soon, hopefully in a reading vlog so you can hear my thoughts. I'm very excited. And the 12th and final question is how many books are on your TBR? So as of the time of filming this video, which is mid-May, I have 34 books on my physical TBR. I have 3 audiobooks that I own that I've not gotten to yet, and I have 171 books on my Goodreads TBR, which is actually probably like 165 or something because I have some rereads on there that don't count, like The Hunger Games and Twilight that I have not tracked on Goodreads before, but whatever, you don't care. So it's like 167-ish, probably, yeah. Okay, so that's gonna do it for the TBR tag today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to Raine for tagging me. This was so much fun. I really appreciate you thinking of me, and I hope you all watching this enjoyed this video. All relevant links will be down in the description, including a link to Raine's channel and her video, as well as links to all the books mentioned, the questions of the tag, and anything else I can think of that you guys might want to know about. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye! I'm breathing hard, friends. This is hard work, filming these videos.